Light is an important part of everything we do, and although society would benefit from a spread of artificial light, it can be potentially hazardous for natural forms of biodiversity. Previous research investigating the impacts of artificial light pollution have found negative effects on a variety of taxa, including fish, turtles, and plankton. Birds in particular can be influenced by artificial light pollution, having impacts on behaviors such as foraging efficiency and the timing of seasonal breeding. These effects are becoming ever more apparent as mass casualties are found outside of artificially lit structures such as skyscrapers, lighthouses, and wind turbines. Therefore, a more comprehensive study into the impacts of artificial light pollution is required to fully understand the consequences for biodiversity and to focus future conservation efforts. Migratory birds depend on light-dependent systems for navigation, which can be compromised by an influx of artificial light. The disruption attributable to artificial light can be measured by investigating nocturnal flight calls. These are short calls produced by migratory birds during flight and are believed to maintain flock cohesion. Therefore, any deviation from the normal frequency of night flight call production suggests a disturbance attributable to artificial light, and in this way we can measure artificial light's impacts on migrating birds. We recorded nocturnal flight calls over artificially lit and naturally dark areas. These recordings were analyzed and the number of nocturnal flight calls were compared. We found significantly more nocturnal flight calls were produced over artificially light compared to naturally dark sites. This suggests that the function of nocturnal flight calls is truly to maintain flock cohesion, and also implies that artificial light has a detrimental influence on migrating birds. We also classified nocturnal flight calls to the species or species complex level, finding more species over artificially lit than naturally dark sites. This suggests that the function of nocturnal flight calls and the disturbance attributable to artificial light is consistent across taxa. This study suggests that even at a small scale, artificial light can be detrimental to migrating birds. Extrapolating this effect to sites the size of cities shows that migrating birds could become disoriented and collide with infrastructure. This study suggests that mitigating these potential threats requires the control and reduction of artificial lighting at night during migration.